There are a whole heap of exciting new cars coming in the next few years, and in this video I'm going to give you a complete A to Z guide of the brands which have just announced some new models. So here they are. Alfa Romeo's latest creation is the bonkers Giulia GTA. This stripped-out version of the Quadrifoglio gets 540 horsepower and weighs up to 100 kilograms less than the standard car thanks to a new titanium exhaust and loads of carbon fibre bits. It gets a new front bumper, lower side skirts, wider rear wheel arches and plenty of new vents. Oh, and there's a massive rear spoiler too. Pick a GTA M model and you get lightweight plexiglass windows, a roll cage, racing seats and 6-point harnesses. There's also a new launch control system that'll let you do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. Do you fancy one? Well, you'll have to be just as quick as the car. They're only going to make 500. Let's kick things off with the new Aston Martin V12 Speedster. It's a bit of a looker, isn't it? It's basically a Vantage that's had its roof sawn off, and instead of a twin-turbo Mercedes V8, it has a 700 horsepower 5.2 litre V12 from the DBS Superleggera. So it should sound epic. Is it fast? Well, it'll do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and will blast your toupee into the middle of next week when it tops out at 186 miles an hour. Good thing it comes with 2 helmets behind the headrest then. The all-new Audi A3 is basically a much posher version of the new VW Golf. It uses the same chassis but looks a whole lot sportier and gets plenty of new technology. Inside you get a pair of large screens and lots of luxurious materials. But Audi's finally ditched the old rotary controller that made things so easy to use. Oh well. You can get the A3 with 3 engines, a couple of diesels and a 150 horsepower 1.5 litre petrol. You'll also be able to get a plug-in hybrid, which is powered by a combination of an electric motor and a 1.4 litre turbocharged petrol engine. There'll even be a faster S3 model with 4-wheel drive, and this is expected to produce 330 horsepower from its 2 litre turbocharged engine. If you click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can watch my detailed, in-depth walk-around video of the new Audi A3. It's all very exciting! The old back mono was one of the most hardcore road cars you could buy. It only had 1 seat for goodness sake. The new mono gets the same F1 style seat, space-age design and high-tech materials, but it produces 30 horsepower more from its 4-cylinder turbocharged forged engine, and it now meets European noise and emission regulations for the first time. So it's nice and legal, though probably not quite so good on the old eardrums. The new Bentley Bacala may sound like something you'd wear to rob a bank, but there's nothing subtle or stealthy about this new roadster. Its swoopy bodywork is built by Mulliner, the oldest coach builder in the world, and there's a 659 horsepower W12 engine under the bonnet. Bentley will only build 12 of them, and they cost a whopping £1.5 million each. But they're already sold out. If you're one of the lucky ones, you can personalise your Bacala with rice husk ash paint, whatever that is, and 5,000-year-old Riverwood trim. This is the BMW i4 concept. It's not a finished car, but it does show what BMW's rival to the Tesla Model 3 will look like. And yes, it looks like it's going to have a massive bucked tooth grille. But at least the rest of the i4 looks pretty cool. Its interior is about as minimalist as it gets, and there's a huge windscreen infotainment system as well. Actually, that looks a bit familiar. Mercedes E-Class anyone? At least the i4 concept is rear-wheel drive, like every good BMW should be. Oh, and it'll do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and hit 124 miles an hour, which isn't bad for an electric car. Best of all, BMW says the i4 can do 373 miles between charges, and it even gets sound effects composed by Hans Zimmer, the guy who did the sound for the movie Inception. Just don't go expecting Leonardo DiCaprio to be the voice of the new sat-nav. The only thing is, you're going to have to wait for more than a year until the actual production version goes on sale. So why not click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen to save an average of almost £7,000 on what I think is actually the best BMW you can buy today. The Chiron might have been around for a while now, but that hasn't stopped Bugatti from rolling out a special edition version for 2020. It's called the Chiron Pur Sport, and it's more about being fast through corners than hitting a 300-mile-an-hour top speed. Because of this, it has stiffer suspension and new bodywork that makes more downforce. The fixed wing, 3D printed titanium exhaust and magnesium wheels all help make the Pur Sport 50 kilograms lighter than the regular Chiron. It'll be even lighter with the 2-tone paint option. This leaves the bottom third of the Chiron's bodywork naked, so you can see all the lovely carbon fibre underneath. The engine is the same as the normal Chiron, so it makes 1500 horsepower and 1600 Nm of torque. Fairly humdrum, eh? But it gets a reworked gearbox that helps helps the Persport go from 40 to 75 miles an hour almost 2 seconds quicker. How the heck they done that? Oh, I know. Low gear ratio. Simple. Duh. Cupra is Seat's spin-off performance brand, and the Formentor is its first standalone model. It's a bit like a jacked-up SUV version of the Leon, so it looks much sportier than the Cupra Ateca. You can get it with a 310 horsepower petrol engine and four-wheel drive, or you can get a 245 horsepower plug-in hybrid version with an electric motor and a 1.4 litre turbocharged petrol engine. Every Formentor comes with an automatic gearbox and snazzy interior with a 12-inch touchscreen and a digital driver's display as standard. First deliveries will begin late in 2020. Cupra recently revealed the new high-performance Leon 2. This sporty Spanish hot hatch shares plenty of its bits with the new VW Golf GTI. It looks more exciting though, and you get lots of copper-coloured bits and a big tattoo-style Cupra badge. Oh yeah! You can even choose from a range of engines. There's a 245 horsepower petrol, a 245 horsepower plug-in hybrid, and a 300 horsepower petrol, plus a 310 horsepower petrol in the range-topping four-wheel drive estate models. Beware though, every version of the Leon comes with an automatic gearbox. There is no manual option. Still, they do get a sporty-looking interior with a pair of large digital screens as standard. Dacia has revealed this new spring electric concept, and it shows us what to expect when Dacia launches its first electric car sometime in the next 2 years. Now, it won't give the engineers over at Tesla any sleepless nights, but it will be the cheapest new electric car on sale. And really, that's all that I have to say about that. Honda has just updated its dinky Jazz City car, and it's all about being easy to get into, easy to drive, and easy to live with. It's especially cheap to run if you go for the hybrid, as Honda claims this will manage 62 miles per gallon. The Jazz is on sale now and it starts from £20,000. Hyundai has rolled out a new concept car called the Prophecy. It's a slinky electric saloon that's as aerodynamic as possible thanks to an adaptive rear spoiler and clever alloy wheels that will work like propellers to pull air close to the car's sides, thereby reducing drag. It also comes with backwards opening rear doors and a super minimalist interior. There's one big screen up front and you don't even get a steering wheel. Instead, you have two joysticks either side of the driver's seat. Not sure that'll catch on. Anyway, you won't have a chance to try it out because the Prophecy won't go into production. It's just a concept car for us to look at and go, that's stupid. Koenigsegg knows a thing or two about building mega-fast supercars, but now it's having a crack at making a super quick GT. The Gemera is a low-slung four-seater with upwards hinging doors and exhaust pipes that stick out through the roof. These don't lead to a massive fire-breathing V8 like they do on other Koenigseggs though. Instead, the Gemera has a 2-litre 3-cylinder petrol engine. However, this is supplemented by 3 electric motors and combined, you have 1,700 horsepower. In fact, the 3-cylinder engine alone shouldn't be laughed at because it produces 600 of the horsepower, and boy is the Gemera quick. It can go from 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. You can even run it on petrol or ethanol if you want to be a bit kinder to the environment. It's your choice. If you fancy a Swedish supercar but you don't need 4 seats, there's also the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut. Yes, it sounds like a type of vodka, but it's actually a 1,600 horsepower twin-turbo V8 hypercar designed to smash the top speed record for production cars. Bugatti currently holds the record with its 305 mph Chiron, but Koenigsegg reckons the Gemera will do more than 310 miles an hour. You can even remove the Jesko Absolut's roof and keep it under the bonnet, although top speed takes a bit of a hit when you do. Koenigsegg hasn't confirmed how much the Jesko Absolut costs, but they have said it'll be the last car they build that's all about top speed. So grab it while you can then. McLaren has made a few special edition long-tail versions of its cars before, and the latest model to get stretched is the new 765LT. It's based on the 720S, but it comes with a bunch of new vents, loads of carbon fibre upgrades, and 4 huge titanium exhausts poking out from underneath the massive rear wing. It has the same twin-turbo 4-litre V8 engine as the 720S, but it makes 765 horsepower in this car, and thanks to some polycarbonate windows, lots of carbon fibre, and some seats borrowed from the McLaren Senna, the new car weighs 80 kilograms less than the standard 720S on which it's based. All this means it will do 0 to 60 in about 2.7 seconds. However, due to the long tail's extra aerodynamics for improved downforce and handling, the top speed is now only 205 miles an hour instead of the standard car's 211. Oh dear. The Mercedes E-Class saloon and estate have had a few tweaks for 2020. Now they come with revised styling and plenty of new technology. You get different headlights, new grills and some fancy new steering wheels to choose from. Also, the new car gets Mercedes' very latest version of its MBUX infotainment system. Meanwhile, the car also gets some all-new mild hybrid engines, while E53 models come with a new optional AMG Dynamic Plus pack that gives you the same drift mode as the full-fat E63 AMG. Now, if you want more information on this car, click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen for my detailed video on this new Mercedes E-Class. The latest AMG A45 has shown to be a real blast to drive. Come on! But now, there's a GLA 45 to get your pulse racing as well. This uses the same 421 horsepower turbocharged 2-litre petrol engine as the hot hatch version, but stuffed into a taller SUV body for even more, or maybe less, street cred. Depends on your viewpoint. Anyway, if that doesn't sound like enough power in an SUV, check out the AMG GLE 63 Coupe. This massive coupe off-roader comes with up to 625 horsepower from its 4-litre twin-turbo V8. It also gets a clever, active anti-roll system to stop its huge body from leaning too much in tight corners. This is the Morgan Plus 4, and it may look like a very, very old car, but it's actually completely new. Well, almost. The car is built on an all-new aluminium chassis, and it gets a 259 horsepower BMW 4-cylinder engine, which is also used in the Z4. And seeing as it only weighs about 1,000 kilograms, it'll do 0 to 60 in about 4.8 seconds. It's on sale now, and it costs from £63,000, though there is a bit of a waiting list for one. The Pininfarina Battista is one of the fastest and most expensive electric cars you can buy, but the Anniversario version is even more reassuringly expensive. It produces 1,900 horsepower and 2,300 Nm of torque. That means it'll do 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. It also gets some new aero tweaks and wheels and tyres, so it's even faster than the standard car. How does 217 miles an hour sound? Pretty good, for an electric car. Only thing is, just 5 will be made, each in an exclusive two-tone paint job that you won't see on the normal Battista, if a Battista could ever be described as normal. Renault loves to wheel out a futuristic concept car, and this year they built something called the Morphos. I think that's how it's said. It's supposed to show us what electric cars in 2025 will look like, and there might be some truth to that because it uses Renault's new electric vehicle platform. Instead of choosing a trim level, you choose a city or travel model. These are pretty much identical, except the travel version is 40 centimeters longer and has a much bigger battery. They both get sliding rear seats, a swiveling passenger seat, and a retractable steering wheel that doubles as an infotainment screen. Polestar has revealed a new 4-door coupe rival for the Porsche Taycan. It's called the Precept, and it shows what future road cars from the Swedish brand will look like. An integrated spoiler in the bonnet and cameras instead of wing mirrors make it as aerodynamic as possible. And it uses plant-based composite for some body panels that are lighter than plastic and produce less waste. Inside, you get a couple of large screens and Polestar's signature gold seat belts, just like in the S60 Polestar. Polestar hasn't confirmed how fast the Precept is or how far it can go between charges. However, it has said that it comes with the kind of high-tech sensors reserved for the most advanced autonomous driving systems. Not sure what that'll mean. Maybe the car can just drive itself. The new Porsche 911 992 is a pretty quick car, but this new range-topping 911 Turbo S promises to be an absolute monster. Let's start with the looks though. It's wider, lower and angrier than the standard 911 thanks to new bumpers, lots of new intakes, wider haunches and 4 massive exhaust pipes. The 3-litre turbocharged flat-six engine now makes 650 horsepower and it drives all 4 wheels through an 8-speed PDK dual-clutch automatic gearbox. As a result, it can do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds and will go on to a top speed of 205 miles an hour. The suspension is lower and firmer than the standard 911 as well to improve the handling, and you get an adjustable rear wing to help keep the Turbo S glued to the tarmac at high speed. As for the price, well, you're looking at more than £150,000. Now, if you click on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can watch our drag race between a Porsche 911 Carrera 4S against an Audi R8, an AMG GT 4-door and a BMW M8. If you don't want a German or Spanish hot hatch, how about a Czech one? Well, Škoda's revealed its new Octavia VRS. This new model ditches the old car's petrol engine, and now it gets a 1.4-litre petrol engine plus an electric motor, which means it's only available as a plug-in hybrid. In fact, it's the same system you get in the new Cupra Lounge. So, surprise, surprise, it makes exactly the same 245 horsepower as that car. Now this gets fed to the front wheels only through a 6-speed automatic gearbox. As a result, it can do 0 to 60 in 7.3 seconds and hit 140 miles an hour. So it's not exactly the quickest hot hatch out there. However, if you want the hot hatch with the most pedigree, then check out the new Volkswagen Golf GTI. Obviously it looks very much like the standard Golf, but it does get some extra red trim, cool fog lights and new alloy wheels, plus bigger exhaust. Inside you get some GTI signature tartan seats and some new graphics for the 2 digital screens. Underneath the bonnet is a 2-litre turbocharged engine with 245 horsepower, which is good for 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds. There's also a 200 horsepower GTD diesel version that's a bit slower but cheaper to run, and then there's the GTE Hybrid, which uses the same 1.4-litre petrol engine combined with an electric motor to produce 245 horsepower that you get in the Škoda Octavia VRS. If you want a bigger performance VW, then how about this, the Touareg R. So this gets a 3-litre V6 turbo mated to an electric motor to produce a combined 462 horsepower and 700 Newton meters of torque. It'll do 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Not bad for such a big old beast. Please subscribe to this channel for more videos, and if you click on the deals box to the right, you can see how much you can save on a new car at CarWow. Or click on the video windows below to watch another of my videos.